You know, it's a big day when you've got a special graphic, and it's HKIR Day coming up on Sunday at Sha Tin. Paul Lally is here for the selections throughout the card. We'll have a special guest join us for the 4 Group 1s also on this race-by-race preview. Silent Winston's handicap, the first is at 12.25. City Thunder, no luck last time. Patch of Time carries an extra £7 for his last start win. Run Timing has the blinkers going on. Brilliant Express has placed his last 2. Fortune Boy is on debut. The Auspicious has the blinkers going on. Invincible Lucky has the blinkers off for his racetrack return. And Day Victory will wear blinkers for the first time. Number of first starters in this race, Paul, on the 1200 metre start. Who goes forward?
Look, I think that we're going to see the Happy Park from an inside draw go forward. Lucky Blessing, he likes to go forward as well. Just had the one run here. Look, Run Timing's got blinkers on for the first time with a wide draw, so I think they're going to be positive with him. Patch of Time, he's won his last couple, has gone forward. Monarch County, and the Auspicious might have to go all the way back with Invincible Lucky.
We do start with the winning form around a Patch of Time. He's aiming for 3 in a row. Monarch County's had no luck in his 2 starts to date. Gets a good draw and on the speed map, a good run, which City Thunder was getting in this race, Paul, to the home straight, and then the traffic was just peak hour.
Yeah, exactly. This will be his 3rd start in Class 4 as well, but does have to carry 132, but he didn't have much luck. But Patch of Time, it was a nice win from him. He's up in weight, obviously, with these 2 wins, up £7. He's drawn nicely in Barrier 5. He's going to get a similar run, so I expect him to run well once again. It's just whether he's reached his mark or not after those 2 wins, but I'm going to include him.
That is our first replay with Patch of Time winning that race. Next up is a horse you've had in a number of times, Happy Park. He holds on for 2nd in this race. It was won by Mark Wynn, who runs later in the program. He's coming back in trip for this first race on Sunday.
He is, and he's got barrier number 1, so I think that's a positive for him. He was just run down late by Mark Wynn. I think it's a big chance later in the card. Mark Wynn was really sort of building up to this win. Thought it was a really nice a run from Happy Park. He's run some pretty good races at both Sha Tin and here. For barrier 1, he's going to get every opportunity once again. So, yeah, I did include him.
It's a good report for Happy Park as he stays on there for 2nd. Now, you've been all over this horse lately too. Mr. Energia is his name. This is his last start. He ran 6th in this race. It was 1,400 metres also. So he comes back in trip and has trialled impressively between runs. Yeah,
the trial was good. And look, the problem with him is he was wide all the way in this race. Like in the race book, it says it's a 6th, but when you have a look at this replay, he wasn't too far away at all. And he momentarily hit the front there and just sort of came to the end of it. So back to 1,200 metres with that trial under his belt, I think is probably ideal for him. He just sort of floundered this last sort of 100 metres, but wasn't too far away. As you can see, it was a real blanket finish. So a nice run from him, and with Zach Purton aboard, I think he's going to run well.
Let's pull up some trials now. And Brilliant Express hasn't raced for a while. He's first up for the season in this race. His last appearance was in July. 4 trials to prepare for this. This is his most recent one. He runs 2nd behind Jubilant Winner, who runs later in the program.
Yeah, beaten favourite at his last start at the last back end of last season. Always in the market, this horse. Did run 5th on his debut run. Did Brilliant Express. The trial was pretty good though. He hit the line strongly enough. There wasn't much in it at the post. He's drawn barrier number 9, so a little bit tricky, but there's plenty of sort of ability there with him. So yeah, he'll go in.
And one more to have a look at. Sonic Pursuit went green on debut. Just didn't have any sort of luck from barrier number 14. He draws 7 here, and this trial up at Chung Fa, he was too good for a horse called Knight Purasangwe.
He was. A nice trial from him as well. So, again, there's an ability there with this horse, the son of Soborg. 2nd up. 7 can be a little bit of a tricky draw. You're sort of midfield, so Vincent will be trying to get in a little bit with him. But, look, he was right on the cusp for me. I pushed out a little bit in the trial, but still managed to win it.
And that is a breakdown of runners in race number 1. Couple of your favourites in the race, and they're both going in.
Yeah, they are, definitely. We'll make it in the Quinella, actually, with Mr. Energia, who's been quite solid. His win was on the all-weather, but he's shown some really good form on the turf as well. Happy Park should get a brilliant run from barrier number 1, Brilliant Express and Patch of Time. So I think we covered all those well, 4, 11, 5 and 2.
Zach Purton and David Hall to set the scene early, with Paul winning with Mr. Energia in the first on HKIR Day. Beautiful. Beauty Generation Class 4 is race number 2 and it is over the 1400 metres. Mighty Commander's going up in trip, or indeed can't draw a gate. It's another wide draw for him. Legend St Paul's 2 starts for 2 placings. Jubilant Winner, cheek pieces off and the visor goes on. Packing Angel, no cheek pieces. Island Breezes, blinkers off, pacifiers with cowls added to him. Multi Bingo has the hood going on. Bienvenue goes up in trip. Dragon Four Seas comes back in distance, and Beautiful Win is wearing cheek pieces for the first time. The leader, Paul, is Dragon Four Seas.
Yeah, led in his last few starts. Now, Packing Angel's drawn 13, so I think they'll be positive on him and try and get outside the leader. Master Phoenix went back on his debut run from a wide draw. I think he'll be a lot closer to the run. Jubilant Winner's a recent trial winner. They're just a pulls. He'll try and tuck in somewhere that he'll need a little bit of luck in running. And Bienvenue, I think, will be a little bit closer as well.
Here is Nick with the trainer now of Legend St Paul's. It is Frankie Law.
Frankie Law, you've got some really interesting horses in the early part of the card on Sunday. Race 2, you're going to put a saddle on Legend St Paul's. 2 runs, 2 very good efforts so far.
Yes, he 2 start, but 2 second. He went really well, yeah.
He's got that wide draw this time in. I know that's probably the biggest negative to him. But just going back and sort of assessing his 2 runs to date, he looks the sort of the nice improver, doesn't he? This horse getting closer to a win.
Yes, I don't mind outside draw because he's big horse and big stripe, and then maybe it's better for him. And the horse later on, I think he can handle a little bit further, yeah.
What has he done in sort of that month between runs, Frankie? Have you noticed any sort of improvements in him? Has he changed physically, or how has he developed?
He looks good. He improved. Everything's fine, and I think he's got a good chance, yeah.
And there he is, Frankie Law on Legend St Paul's. Mighty Commander is our first replay, Paul. He's trialled pretty well since the last start, which is this one we look at, and ran 4th behind Beauty Destiny, who's absolutely flying at the moment.
Yeah, he's going well, is he? He's got to come in back to Sha Tin. That's the query. He's 3 zip at Sha Tin. He's got Joe Moreira aboard, so he'll definitely be in the market. Second start in Class 4, the first obviously being at Happy Valley. So let's see if we can bring that to Sha Tin. He hasn't at this stage in Class 3.
Indeed is next up. As mentioned, he's just having no luck with the draws, Paul, and he does strike a field with some pretty promising types in this race. Horses like Legend St Paul's, the one we'll see shortly, Master Phoenix, and even Jubilant Winner's showing plenty. Yeah,
he's drawn wide. He's got Ryan Moore aboard, but from barrier number 14, might just do it tough from out there. This is a nice enough run for him here, but he'll just need luck from the draw. That's simple as that, I think.
He's had 2 trials since this race too. A 3rd behind Enjoy Golf at Chung Fa, and then a quiet trial 4th, beaten 2 3/4 behind a horse called Inno Century in the one after that. Master Phoenix, lightly raced. This indeed was his debut in Hong Kong. Ran 2nd behind Patch of Time, who we're going to see in the first race, so we'll get a bit of a guide on that race day form.
Yeah, no, he goes from 12 to 1400 metres, which I think is a positive. And the biggest positive is the draw. To go all the way back, Vincent Ho from barrier number 1, he should get a lovely run from barrier 1. He can take full advantage of that. And I see him as he can win this race. Really finished off strongly here. And the eye-catching bit was that last sort of 100, 150 metres. The extra 200 looks ideal.
So straight out of the replay, straight onto the top of this graphic.
Correct. Master Phoenix on top. Legend St Paul's, he's the biggest danger. It's just the draw was the difference. Packing Angel can come across, another one that's drawn wide. And Jubilant Winner was a recent trial winner, and is Blake Shin aboard, 6.375.
Yeah, just his 2nd start, Master Phoenix, to break through for his first Hong Kong win for Paul. Race number 3 now. This is the race that precedes the first of the Group 1s. It's the Lord Kanaloa Handicap, and Savvy Brilliant has won 2 from his last 3. Wonder Star a wider draw. Young Superstar carries an extra £8 on his last start victory. 80 Light Years having his 3rd run back. Halo of Success makes his Hong Kong debut. Patcher Cosmo, 2-time course and distance winner. Swagger Bro and See Yeah, both on debut in Hong Kong. And Lifeline Express placed his first time in this grade last time out. Wonder Star and Young Superstar from out wide, Paul will sweep across.
Yeah, a couple of stars I think will go forward here. Wonder Star has gone forward in his run. hell of success, has shown a lot of speed in his trials as well, so he's a bit of an unknown. 80 light years seems to be a theme, doesn't it? With 80 light years, another one that can go forward. Devano, he's gone forward in the past as well, so there should be good pace in this race.
Why don't you put Not Usual Star and Victory Sky up with the stars and skies at the front as well?
There's plenty there, isn't there?
Too professional for that, aren't you?
Of course.
On we go to Savvy Brilliant, beaten last time. Beaten on his merits in this race by Swift Descend. However, just about nothing would have been able to hold Swift Descend off in this race. He went like a jet over the last furlong.
Yeah, really nice win from him. Look, I think Savvy Brilliant can bounce back. Now, he does things wrong at the start. That's the problem with him. He just really needs to learn the starts, and once he does, he's going to be a very good racehorse, this one. He's won 2 in a row prior to this, and then there was nothing wrong with this run. He just met a better horse on the day.
And we go to this replay. It's the Planetarium, because we've got Young Superstar, Victory Sky, 80 Light Years, Patch of Cosmo all coming out of this race. And they're added in with a couple of other stars as well this week.
Yeah, exactly. Victory Sky was a good run. I'm going to put him in on a minor line, but the better run I thought was Patch of Cosmo. He's been a really good horse this year. We saw him as a Griffin last year, and he was just running 5th and 6th, and then he's come out, he won 2 in a row, and then finished off really strongly once again here. So from barrier 3, I think he's a chance. He just ran out a little bit of room late. He was never really going to trouble them, but it was a good run from him, and a really good run there from Lifeline Express as well.
It was indeed, and he's way down in the weights once again. His halo of success, he was known as Dark Halo when trained by Kieran Ma, who's in Hong Kong at the moment, of course, with a recommendation. His sole Australian win was over 1,100 metres at Wyong, and David Eustace has given him the 2 trials.
Yep, Hood goes on, cross noseband as well by Zoostar, this one. Barrier 11 was a little bit of a concern for his debut run, but look, he has got a bit of early pace, so he might be able to get across. He'll be trying to get across from that wide draw and use that speed. Look, I'm happy to watch him on his debut here.
And there's a breakdown of runners in race number 3. Good field, this.
It is. I've got to go with Savvy Brilliant on top. I think this horse, there's plenty of ability there. And if he can overcome that barrier 9 and slowly away, he can win. Patch of Cosmo, Lifeline Express, both really good chances, and Victory Sky really improved a lot from start 1 to start 2. 1-8, 13, 10.
And that is the preview for race number 3. It is the first leg of the early treble. Yeah, it's Group 1 preview time now for Sunday. As you can see, special guest joins us to preview the 4 Group 1s. Matty Plale from the Racing Post is back. And Matty, you've brought a strong European contingent with you.
We have. We've got some real depth to the International Raiders this year. Can't wait to go through the races. It's been a beautifully sunny week. The weather's been fantastic. The action on track, Happy Valley, was fantastic. And the track work's been really informative as well.
All right, well, let's get into the Vars right now and see if the Europeans are going to figure here. 2,400 metres, the first of the 4 Turf World Championships. Without a Fight's had 1 start since he won the Melbourne Cup in 2023. Gia Valletto placed last time in the Group 1 Irish St Ledger. Last start for Luxembourg. Dubai Honour makes another trip back to Hong Kong. French representation, Iracine and Marquis at numbers 5 and 6. 5G Patch for Hong Kong. Brendan Abdullah rides him for Tony Cruz. La City Blanche likewise. Tony Cruz and Matthew Chadwick combine with him. The Sarsard Ladies Purse winner is Ensued, number 12, and Stellenbosch, the filly representing Japan with Joe Moreira to ride. They jump from the gates, Paul, and it's Ballydoyle to the lead.
Yeah, look, I think Continuous can easily get to the front and lead. Now, Luxembourg's drawn wider of the 2 Ballydoyle horses, so he could easily come across and get outside the leader as well. But they won't take each other on, which should make a good to slow pace. Kaying Generation, now he took off when he did win the Derby, and there is a possibility he could inject some pace into the race. Stellenbosch, the Japanese mare, filly, she likes to go back. She's drawn wide, so I think she's going to be towards the back.
We go straight to an interview Nick has done with the pilot for the last time ever on Luxembourg. It's Ryan Moore.
Ryan Moore, Luxembourg in the Vars coming up on Sunday, a race that you and Aidan have done very well in the past, and a wonderful horse to ride, I'm sure, and you're looking forward to him.
Yeah, Luxembourg, he ran a super race last year to be second in the Cup, beaten by a very good horse from Romantic Warrior. And he's been a very good horse throughout his career. Still won a Group 1 race every year, and he ran well in the Breeders' Cup. Bit of a messy race and didn't get a clear shot at it. We hope the mile and a half of Sha Tin will suit him well.
Looking at the race this year, I mean, it looks like a nice open sort of race, and one that many would have their chances in.
Yeah, look, it's always going to be a tough race, and it's a very level field, and I think there's 13 in there, and it'll be competitive. And but look, if the horse brings his best form, then he'll be very competitive.
If I may ask you about Content in the Cup as well. I know Aidan's got a couple in the race. She was obviously very good in the summer, claimed her Group 1 as well. She's coming back in trip.
Yeah, we think the mile and a quarter in Sha Tin will suit her. She won a Yorkshire Oaks. Again, she had a very good run in Del Mile. Again, the race didn't really pan out to suit her. We think, fillies have often gone well in this race in the past, and she's an improving 3-year-old filly. We think she's still getting better, and she gets a bit of weight. It's going to be very hard against some of the more established horses in there. Obviously, Romantic Warrior is showing how brilliant he is and how consistent he is, and Liberty Island and Tassiera, to name a few. So it's a deep race, but hopefully she puts the best foot forward and she runs a respectable race.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, she is obviously a winner at the highest. And in the mile, Ramadan for James Ferguson, that's an interesting ride to pick up as well.
Yeah, look, I don't know much about him. James has got him recently as well. He won over Arc Weekend for Christopher Head, and look, hopefully he's on an upward trajectory. Hong Kong miles are always hard. It's always hard to beat the local horses, but we'll see what he can do.
And that was a Thursday morning backstraight jump out with Ramadan tailing Docklands there. But on Luxembourg, Matty, we've seen him here before. He pushed Romantic Warrior up to a mile and a half for his last start.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision. His latest Group 1 success came over the 2,400 metres in the Coronation Cup. He's not quite been in the same form as he was coming into this meeting last year. That would be my only concern. But things haven't quite panned out for him. I do think, as Paul's touched upon, the tactical shape of the race could suit him. I also think it could suit Continuous, who could potentially get a slightly easy lead.
OK, they won it a few years ago, the Moore and O'Brien combination with Mogul, Paul.
They did, yeah. They've had good success. Highland Real as well has come here and won. Aidan O'Brien did say in an interview this morning that he wondered if he'd got the right race last year, and he thought 2,400 metres might be the way to go for Luxembourg. So they're hoping they've got it here this year.
On to Marquisat now, Paul, as we look at the first of the French runners. This is a fifth last time, and their Grosse Allianz Pré Von Bayern over 2,400 metres on what looks to be a pretty heavily rain-affected track.
Yeah, most of his runs have been on a rain-affected tracks, but we saw Junko last year who have that same sort of profile and come out and won on the good track that we did have. Now, look, Andre Fabre knows how to win this race. The horse ran on nicely enough, so look, he's you can't dismiss him.
And Mikhail Barcelona rides him. Matty in great form after Wednesday night.
Yeah, he was spectacular around the valley. Wasn't necessarily treated well by his mounts beforehand, seemingly, and had some horrible draws, but yeah, certainly came up and showed up well. The key form line for me with this horse is the Grand Prix de Chantilly. He was a nose second to Junko, who we know won this race last year. If he can reproduce that, he had Dubai Honour and Goliath behind him. That's top class form. He needs to put it all together, though.
On to Australian form now, and this is without a fight in the Champion Stakes. He won the Caulfield Melbourne Cup double in 2023. A tendon injury kept him sidelined since then, and this is his first run back.
I think he's got an exceptional chance, and I thought this was a fantastic run over an insufficient trip for him back to the staying distance of this mile and a half race in the Vars. Exceptional after such a long layoff to finish third to a top class mare in Via Sistina. You know, I don't think the way this race panned out necessarily would have suited him either. I think they would have been delighted with it as a prep run. I've been impressed with what I've seen from him in track work this week. I think this race could just really suit him because he's a strong stayer, but he does have a turn of foot as well. Yeah,
really good turn of foot, hasn't he? And look, he won that double. And I mean, the only little concern is the layoff, but he seemed to be coming back well. And they've given another sort of a decent trial as well to get it into his moles, into his legs. and his work during the week here has been pretty good as well.
Here's the Champion Stakes, Paul, with Continuous leading up. It gets pretty messy in the straight in this race. We've seen Iracine at track work. He's quite a character. He's black, he swooshes the tail, he wants to throw the head down, he's got that white side eye like he's going to try and rob your wallet off you. But there's something about him.
Yeah, there is, and this was a huge run. He was 20-1 in this, and this was a high-class run at Ascot as well. Look, the question, I suppose, with him is again, is a lot of his form's been on wet tracks. Look, I went right back through his form. He's had 24 starts, 15 wins. He's only had one go on a good track, and he did win it. Now, it was earlier in his career. He did go to Japan, and he was in Equinox's Japan Cup, but that race wasn't there to suit him. Pentalesa went clear, and none of the back runners got into it, and Equinox won well. So I forgive for that.
And Marie Vellon takes the ride on the horse, Matty.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible to see a woman with such a high-profile ride in Hong Kong. This horse, I've always had a soft spot for him. Maybe it is because of his looks, but he's a dual Group 1 winner, very talented animal. I do slightly worry about the ground, though.
OK, that is Iracine. Now we head to Japan. Stellenbosch, right down the bottom of the book, comes here to represent the Japanese in this race. Matty, recent running for this one. She's always been in the 2- and 3-year-old fillies race, so she will tangle with the older horses for the first time.
She will, but look at the run she comes with here to close down on the leaders. She did, of course, win the Japanese 1,000 guineas and then has been placed in the longer distance races in that Triple Tiara series. I really like what I've seen from her. She tends to settle towards the rear of the field and come with a late kick, so she's going to need this race to play out well. I'm hoping Continuous hopefully goes an even gallop for her and Without a Fight, who I think will both be settled towards the rear and want to come with late runs. She's a powerful closer, and I think the best could be yet to come. Of all the horses at track work this week, I think she would be towards the top of my list. She's been so relaxed, very switched on, and for a 3-year-old filly, we know that they can come into their own at this time of year. She looks to have another very, very strong chance.
Added you, Sia.
Yeah, look, it's very hard to underestimate the Japanese, and as you say, it's only age group form at this stage, but the way she finishes off, she's gone well, and she'll need pace. That's the key. I mean, tactics are always a thing in the vase, and this is what we need for her. She needs a bit of pace.
It's been a long time since Exultant won for Hong Kong China, Paul, in this race. That was the most recent result that was favourable for the locals. Here's the Jockey Club Cup, and it would actually be a shock if the locals were to win, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think Kane Generation is the best of the locals. Now, he could do what he did in the Derby and try and catch me if he can, and that'll put the good pace into the race. And if he does do that, that's really going to help Without a Fight, and also the likes of Stellenbosch. He didn't lead in this race, but you can see him still finishing off nice enough. But look, the internationals look a class above.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the pace to this race is the interesting angle. For my hold-up horses, Without a Fight and Stellenbosch, I want it to be even enough, but I also think it could advantage the likes of Continuous and Luxembourg if they don't go too fast. I don't think it's guaranteed that they will go like the Clappers from the start, so it will be interesting to see how it plays out.
Who is going to win the first of the Group 1s? Your selections, please, Paul.
Well, I'm going to go with sort of a bit of value here with the French horse Iracine. I mean, the question is going to be, can Iracine cope with the track here? We saw Junko do it last year, so fingers crossed that he can. Luxembourg in there for second, been there, done that. Stellenbosch, I think she'll be finishing off strongly Without a Fight. So 5, 3, 13 and 1 for me.
Yeah, I'm with the Australian horse here, although I think we can partially claim him as our own. He used to be trained in Britain, of course, Without a Fight. An exceptional return when third last time behind Via Sistina. I think everything's going to play out right for him. Stellenbosch I've got in second, the Japanese filly, as for reasons mentioned previously. And Continuous and Luxembourg, the Ballydial duo, in next.
So the Vars heading north for Paul to France, south for Matty to Australia. That's the preview for the first of the 4 Group 1s. It is time to focus on the sprint, and it'll be a surprise if we're not just focusing on the minor numbers here, but we'll find out from both Maddie and Paul very, very soon. That is because Kaying Rising is horse number 1, the track record holder. California Spangled, third run back, and he's drawn gate 2. Lugal comes here after winning the Group 1 Sprinter Stakes in Japan last time. Invincible Sage, a Group 1 winner in April. He has had a couple of runs back, 3 in fact. He was better last time. Flying Aces come into the field to replace the American Nobles. Starlust is a Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint winner at Del Mar last time. Japanese runners Toshin Macau and Satono Rave, recommendation for Australia. And then the locals 11 through to 14. Speed map time, Paul, and Kaying Rising from barrier number 11. He's got that early pace.
He has. Look, I think they've got no choice but to go forward from barrier number 11 and try and beat Victor the winner who to that position. I think they'll be very happy that Victor the winner drew outside Kaying Rising, because he's the one that's got speed, and I think Kaying Rising can beat him there. But while all this is happening, California Spangle, he's drawn barrier 2. He can just actually get that lovely run on the fence. Satono Rave, now he went back last time and that was a surprise because he normally goes forward in all his races, so I think from a low draw he's going to try and take advantage of that. Now there's plenty of pace in this race, so it could suit the back runners here. How Deep Is Your Love in particular, and Starlust, who came from last to win the Breeders' Cup as well.
We'll have more from Paul and Maddie in just a moment. Firstly though, we need to hear from the man that pilots Kaying Rising to see if he can seal it with a kiss again.
He's a special horse. He's shown that already. It's very hard to break the track record here at Sha Tin, over 1,200 metres, and he's got that to his name. He's been improving with every run. His demeanour is improving with every run. You can see the confidence that he's got within himself now. And he's a pleasure to ride. So, you know, I'm enjoying my association with him. I've ridden a lot of sprinters and a lot of good sprinters, and they've all got one little vice. They might have good speed but then not want to come back underneath you, or they might be a little bit slow out the gates. They might need to get into their rhythm, but this guy is great from the gates. He relaxes well and he's got a good turn of foot, and it's everything you need in a sprinter. No, it was special. It was a special feeling. He went so close to it the start before, and I felt like in some respects he deserved it. He just got into a nice rhythm during the race. It was obviously run to suit his stride and the athleticism that he's got. And, you know, the tracking cam vision from inside of the track as he moved from the 450 to the 350, and you know, everything else was off the bit, trying to keep up with him before I let him go, and then I get to let him go, and he gapped him. It was a very good performance.
There he is, Zach Purton. Maddie, we're going to look at that replay once again, but that last shot in the interview said it all. They're all off the bit chasing, and he's just in cruise control.
He's just special, isn't he? He's absolutely special, and he's unique because he doesn't seem to have a flaw. I spoke to David Hayes for an interview for the Racing Post about this horse before this last start win, and the confidence he had in him was just remarkable. He just does everything so easily. He's very straightforward tactically, and that's going to make him incredibly hard to beat. I don't know what you do if you're one of his rival jockeys. He doesn't have an ideal barrier out wide, but he's got the early pace to negate it, and he can go as fast as you like. So I think he's going to be very, very difficult to beat.
It's hard to see any of those horses overturning it, isn't it? One thing about 11 is that he's going to be out of trouble. I mean, he could be wide, but he's going to be out of trouble. And, you know, he won't get stuck on the rail or anything behind other horses. So, look, I think he'll just go forward and just try and get outside the leader.
And if you ride to beat him, you're going to cook your own chances.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go to Japan, and here is the Sprinters Stakes. We've got Lugal, Toshin Macau. Victor the winner's been struggling, and Satono Rave also in this pool. Of the Japanese, which ones are you're going to put as a place possibility?
I like Satono Rave, actually. Look, he got a bit further back than he normally does. He's drawn nicely in the inside there, so I think he can just sort of follow the pace into the race. He just got a bit tired late because he had too much work to do. Now, Lugal did win the race, but he was a surprise winner. He's 27 to 1.
It was a good performance because he'd had quite a serious injury before this at Lugal, but I'd be more in favour of the second, Toshio Macau. I think he's more experienced, he's a very solid horse, and if one of those is going to come with a late closer, I think it could be him.
OK, that is Japan form. We go to where the surf meets the turf now, Matty, at Del Mar, and here's Starlust, who might have been racing in the US, but trained in your neck of the woods.
Of course he is, yeah, and I think he's looked great at track work this week as well. This was an excellent performance against some real fantastic sprinters from Britain, the likes of Big Ebbs and Bradsell further back in the field. It wasn't their day. This horse is going to like the likely strong pace. He is a closer. I'm not sure he's going to be involved in any of the early speed, but the British runners have such a terrible record in this race. Highfield Princess, who was one of our best, came over and gave it a go last year. Didn't work out for her. I think Rafe Beckett was pretty dejected when this horse drew a wide barrier on Thursday.
Yeah, he's going to have to do something similar and get back and run past them all. So it's going to be quite tough for him, I thought.
Kaying Rising's been excellent, as we know, Paul, but Helios Express has only been back for limited starts this time in. He's run well and he's had a trial since. What did you make of the trial? Granted, it is on the all-weather.
He's been reinvented as a sprinter, this horse, because they stepped right through the 4-year-old series with him. But look, the trial was good. It was a good maintenance trial for him. I thought the run behind Kaying Rising was good as well. He was the clear second favourite that day. And look, I think he's sort of the second best of the locals.
I agree. I really like this horse, and if Kaying Rising wasn't around, I think he'd be doing some very, very nice work in these top-class races. He's got potential. He needs a strong pace, I think, to come from behind. We know he stays further than this, of course, after his success in the 4-year-old series. I like the Hong Kong horses in this. I think they're going to be hard to beat.
The one horse, no doubt, as we get the selections, Paul. Kaying Rising's going to be on the top of the selections for both of you. Let's mix it up a bit and give us the winning margin as well when you give the selections.
Well, look, he'll be eased down if he does go clear. Zaki, as we saw there, he could easily win by 2 or 3 lengths, but he's on top. Satono Rave, I'm going to put him in there as our second selection. Joe Moreira is aboard. Look, this horse here, I just think he's going to get the best run in the race. California Spangle may be the forgotten horse. We know he's a Group 1 winner overseas as well, and he's going to do no work early from barrier number 2, and then Helios Express. So we ended up 1-9-2-12.
Paul is talking me in to backing California Spangle for a place, but I've got to stick with Kaying Rising. I'll go with 4 lengths. I want to see something spectacular. I think the likely strong pace will suit Helios Express. He'll come from behind with that strong late charge. I think the best is yet to come with this horse. And then 2 closers who have been there and done that in these decent races in Hong Kong. How Deep Is Your Love and Lucky With You.
That is the preview for the sprint. Matty will step out for a race because race number 6 is back to just a normal race on the program, and rejoin us for the preview for race number 7, which will be the mile. And race number 6, this is the midpoint of the Group 1s. We have the 2 Group 1s, then this race, then another 2 Group 1s. The Gym and Tonic handicap, it is Bravehearts, looking to make it 3 in a row for Mark Noonan, but there's an extra £10 on his back. Pray for Moore has his first start over 1,800 metres. Starmax placed his last 2. 18 Carat has the blinkers off. Fortune Sun, cheek pieces and tongue tie go on him. Simple Hedges minus the earplugs. Hood is added. Sunstriders improved a length and a half at his first 2 outings this time in. Beauty Live blinkers off and the visor is on for the first time, Paul, and the race led down the long back straight by California Totality.
It's going to take a while for him to get across from his wide draw, but I think he can. Look, 18 Carat was happy to sort of hand up last time. Brave for Moore likes to go forward. Good Luck Babe went forward as well, and he's way up in trip. Sunstrider, he should get a nice run, and Bravehearts, who's won his last 2, he'll get a nice run there midfield.
Straight to the trainer of Bravehearts we go. It is Mark Noonan with Nick.
Mark Noonan, a big day of racing coming up on Sunday, but outside of the Group 1s, race 6 is the Gym and Tonic handicap. You've got Bravehearts, 2 runs, 2 wins, not a lot to complain about.
No, not at all. He's in really good form. He's just come back from Chung Fa, which is the usual pattern with him, and look, he looks fantastic.
He's a horse who clearly might just have needed a bit of time. Would that be fair? I know you haven't had him that long, but he really seems to blossom now.
Yeah, look, I'm not sure. You know, some horses get here and acclimatise straight away, and others take a little bit of time. But look, he arrived to me in good order, and he started the season well.
he's got to give £6 to Family Jewel. There wasn't a great deal between them last time. I guess that probably brings them a bit closer together, but would you be confident of confirming that form?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, he's certainly shown that he's still improving in my eye, which he needs to because he's going up the ratings and up in weight. Only concern is probably coming back to 1800. Look, ideally, I would have loved to have stayed at the 2000. His next start will be 2000. But look, he's in really good form, and Matthew rides him well, understands him well. You just got to give him time, let him get balanced, and give him a bit of room.
I suppose you wouldn't mind maybe a few races during the course of the season that would stretch him a bit, because he's got sort of 2400 metre form down in South America, hasn't he?
Yeah, look, I think he'd have no trouble staying. So, you know, that's probably my job, is to keep a bit of speed in his legs, really. But sending them back up to Chungfa in between races, it gives you a few different training options, and it seems to be working with him.
Mark Dunham there talking Bravehearts. Just one more replay to look at, Paul, because most of the horses in this race were part of the replay in the interview with Mark. So Starmac runs third here. Pray for Mer. Bit disappointing with the run he had. Starmac's always running on, but still a maiden.
Yeah, I've got Starmac in because for that reason, he was touted as a possible Derby winner last season. I think we say that every time he runs. But look, again, he finished off nicely. Yeah, Pray for Mer, I thought he had every chance. He got out there at the right time, but he couldn't just go on with it. So of the two, a lot more interested in Starmac, and I just like the way he really pushed through this gap here as well. So a very good run from him. So look, he's hard to have on a win line of what we've seen, but he could easily go in the place.
He is stepping up in trip 2 off that race is Starmac. That's it. Who wins race number 6?
Going to go with the interview there with Bravehearts. He's won his last couple and he's really sort of hit his stride here in Hong Kong. Sunstrider, he went really well at his last start. He's a real stayer in the making, is Sunstrider. Family Jewel, another one that gets back, runs on strongly, and Starmac. So 1, 11, 8 and 4.
Paul with Bravehearts to make it 3 in a row for the Poon-Newnham combination. As Matty Plowell from the Racing Post rejoins us, we move on to the Golden 60-less mile, which is going to be more open than we've seen for quite some time. Soul Rush for Japan and Joe Moreira is at the top of the book. Voyage Bubble, Group 2, Jockey Club mile winner last time. Entino represents Australia. Tony Gollan and Blake Shin with him. Then the Beauties, Eternal and Joy. Beauty Eternal wears earplugs. Galaxy Patch drew 14. Dockland's on his way back from Australia. We've got Cheng Cheng Glory with gate number 1. Jantar Mantar is the boom horse for Japan. And Lazat and Ramadan round out the field for race number 7. Looking at the speed map here, Paul, and it's a French leader. Yeah, look, Lazat has gone forward. He's up to 1600 for the first time as well. He's going to get a little bit of pressure, though, from Beauty Eternal. Beauty Eternal likes to go forward, and he'll put the pressure on him. So we'll see those two, I think, set up a good pace there. Cheng Cheng Glory will get that perfect run just in behind, and I think Voyage Bubble will get his opportunity as well. He won't be too far away. The start is so important for this horse. The horse is Antino. Here's Nick with his trainer, Tony Gollan.
Tony Gollan, great to see you here, Tony, and you've brought over a very decent horse as well, Antino. How happy are you?
Yeah, I'm very happy. Yeah, thanks for having me for starters. It's been a great week. The horse has settled in really well. You just see him stretch his legs in his last piece of work, and he's in very good shape. I feel he's in as good a shape as we saw him at Flemington in the Champions Mile.
Just as an overall sort of summation of his form, I mean, some of that form is very good, obviously. I mean, it looks an open mile this year, doesn't it? So I imagine you'd be quietly fancying your chances, wouldn't you?
Well, I don't know the international form that well, but it's certainly more open with Golden 60 retired, that's for sure and certain. So it makes it a bit better for all of us travellers. The local is not as dominant as what he has been for the last 3 years. So the form in Australia has been great, weight for age form all spring. He's been up to the mark well. My main goal was to get him here in as good a shape as what I had at Flemington, and I do feel we've got him there.
This has been a bit of a dream for you, hasn't it? I read in an article that you've always wanted to bring a horse, and to have a horse of this guy's calibre and to have the opportunity must be quite special.
Yeah, it has been actually. I never actually thought if I would get the honour to have a horse here, which is honour to get invited to come to this race day. It's a fantastic race meeting with the 4 big Group 1s. This horse here, we've been thinking about this for about a year. As we got deeper into the spring, it started to become a bit of a reality. I wanted to really make sure that his Group 1 weight for age form in Australia was up to the mark, and it was all spring. So we feel like we're a worthy contender.
On to the locals now, Paul, and we're going to go back to the running of the Jockey Club Mile. Voyage Bubble, he was so good first up. He had no luck. Too good in this. Galaxy Patch the one. He had no luck in this.
He was 4 or 5 wide around the bend the whole way and just couldn't really go on with it. So, yeah, I think this is a forgive run there for Galaxy Patch, but a really good run from Voyage Bubble. He's a Group 1 winner, as we know, and he just stretched away and won this race really nicely. So, for me, he's the best of the locals.
What about you, Matty?
I definitely agree. He's been living somewhat in the shadow of Golden 60 for the last couple of years, of course, second in this contest last year. He's just a very good horse to have on your side when you're looking at the tactics of a race, because you know he's going to settle close enough up, but he can sit on the heels of the leaders, relax, and then come with a strong run in the stretch. I think, again, this race is going to set up perfectly for him. If the likes of Lazat go forward, he can just sit on their tail, relax, and then he's got, you know, closers to worry about later on, but he's very dominant in the finish.
Just a quick chat. Cheng Cheng Glory's one of yours. He finished off well in that race.
He did it. Look, I tried to get him into the numbers. Yeah, I did my best. Barrier 1's going to really help him, and he's a strong horse. He's going to sit behind. Look, I've always just wondered he's a little bit below some of these ones, but it was a good enough run from him. On to
Soul Rush, Paul, as we head to Japan now. This is the Mile Championship and he wins this race. Joe Marira back in town to partner him, and Joe has ridden him before. Indeed, his last run in Hong Kong, when 4th in the mile behind Golden 60. Joe was on board that day too.
Yeah, so he's been there and done that and been here before. It was a nice enough win from him. He went away. He'd been just sort of been placed a bit in these Group 1 races, but this was his Group 1 win. So, look, he's going to come in great form.
Soul Rush.
Yeah, I can't see him really improving much on what he did last year. That was a very solid effort. He's clearly a very respectable animal. Maybe he's a better horse this time around.
What about Docklands, Matty? He is a horse you know well, even though his recent campaign and racing has been in Australia. They've all been further, those races in Australia too, than what he races here on Sunday.
I think it will suit him dropping back to a mile, particularly if they go a strong gallop. His best run came when he was second in the Queen Anne Stakes at Royal Ascot in this summer. That was behind Charin, who's since been crowned champion miler. I've not been overly impressed by his work in Australia. This is that Champion Stakes we spoke about with Without a Fight earlier on. Interestingly, though, he broke the Cox Plate track record as well, despite the fact he only finished 5th. I find that remarkable.
Yeah. I think he's going to find it a bit tough here with this. He'll be running on, but yeah, I didn't get him in there.
The Janta Manta tipping membership fan club, Paul, is up to about 6 pages of those that are giving their opinions for the races on Sunday, and Lally, P, is on it.
Yeah, no, I've been sort of talking about this horse for a while. He's a 2-time Group 1 winner. He's only had 5 starts. He's a young horse, but he's such a dude. You see him in the morning, he just takes everything in his stride. The work that he's done during the week was very, very good. So, look, I think he's a rising star in Japan.
Have you got him in, Matty?
I haven't. I like what I've seen from him in the mornings. I'm not sure the races he's been winning are as strong as some of the other Japanese races we're going to talk about, but he's clearly a horse of immense potential. It's not going to be easy for him, though.
Now, Lazat is French trained, but last starters in Australia. He and Docklands have been here for many weeks, so they should have really settled into Hong Kong. This is 1500. He's actually unknown at the mile. He's never raced any further than 1500.
He is. He shows an awful lot of pace. He's a prolific winner in France, and that included the Group 1 Maurice de Guise, which is over 6.5 furlongs. This was an excellent run. Lake Forest just coming up his inside to take the race in the closing strides. I slightly worry about the trip with him, but I think sometimes in this race you can get away with it if you're a very fast horse, as we know that Sha Tin puts a lot of emphasis on speed, and he certainly has that.
Yeah, a lot of it's going to be what Beauty Eternal does, I think. How much pressure he does put on it, because Beauty Eternal races best when he goes forward as well. If they leave Lazat alone, it'll be at their peril.
Janta Manta for you though, Paul.
Yeah, I've got to stick with the Japanese here. Janta Manta do like this horse. Voyage Bubble, obviously the best of the locals. Lazat and Seth Galaxy Patch can bounce back from that unlucky run last time. 12, 2, 13, 6.
I'm really strong on Voyage Bubble. As I say, he's been in Golden 60s shadow a little bit, but I think this could be his time to shine, and an excellent win last time out where he proved his dominance. And next in, I'm going for Galaxy Patch. He's going to need that look coming from the rear of the field, but I think he's Hong Kong's new kid on the block in this division. Followed by Lazat. I think he can stay in the fight in the closing stages. And Antino, some very good runs against the pace in that mile race last time. He could surprise a few people.
There you have it, the preview for the HKIR Mile coming up at Sha Tin on Sunday afternoon, the third of the Turf World Championships. The Longines Hong Kong Cup, and history beckons Romantic Warrior if he can win his third one in a row. And it's over the 2,000 metres, of course. He is just a horse that has performed anywhere he's gone, but certainly at Sha Tin. Spirit Dancer, last start winner in the Group 2 Bahrain International Trophy. Straight Aaron comes up with barrier 4. Testira ran second in the Tenno Show Autumn behind Deduce, subsequent Japan Cup winner last time. For France, it's Caliph. Nimble Nimbus draws barrier number 2. The Foxes for the Andrew Balding stable, and Oisin Murphy. Liberty Island having her second run back after a lengthy layoff. And the stablemates down the bottom, Content and Wingspan numbers 10 and 11. There goes the Foxes from the centre of the line, Paul, but he might not have too much luck out there.
Yeah, Drew White, unfortunately for the Foxes, did lead last time, but it has normally sort of midfield. And look, Wingspan, she likes to lead. She's led at the last. She didn't lead last time, but she has led in most of her races. Romantic Warrior was in front at the winning post the first time over this similar barrier draw, exactly the same barrier draw. He's going to get that lovely trial in behind. And Testira, the Japanese Derby winner, I think he's going to put himself right there as well.
Spirit Dancer comes here from racing in the Middle East, and Nick spoke with his trainer, Richard Fahey.
Richard Fahey, we've just had the barrier draw for the Hong Kong Cup. You've got Spirit Dancer, of course, running in some famous silks. You've drawn gate 10. How happy are you with where he's at?
To be honest, it's not probably where I want to be, but look, he's won the Bahrain Trophy from 11 both times, and they told me you couldn't win from there. But look, what'll be will be. We can't change it, and he's a strong travelling horse. We'll just see what happens, you know.
Just going back to that latest win in the Bahrain Trophy, I mean, it was a strong win. Obviously, that field's getting stronger and stronger every year. You've now won 2 of them with him. Yeah, he seems to like it over there, but he goes on any ground, any track. Nothing really phases him. But I thought his win the other day was probably the best run of his life. Which I suppose coming into a race like that, that's the sort of form you need to be in. You know, we're into Group 1 company, taking on probably a freak of a horse. It was installed one. I'd like to have swapped, but look, what'll be will be. You know. Indeed, obviously the enormity of the challenge certainly not lost on you, of course. Romantic Warrior, the horse you allude to, certainly the one they've got to be. But just on this horse as a story and his connections, obviously a lot is made, obviously, that Sir Alex does own a share in this horse, and he bred the horse too, didn't he? Yeah, he's really engaged in the whole process. To be fair to Sir Alex and Jed and Peter, he's been quite a backward horse, and he didn't have a lot of racing as a young horse. No real problems. He just was very immature. And you've got to give the owners a bit of credit for allowing the trainer to give him the time to progress. We always felt he was a decent horse. Look, he's gone a little bit further than we thought, but it's a lot of it's down to the owners that have given the trainer the chance to give him the chance to show his best. So they're getting repaid in spades, as we say in Ireland. Yeah, nice testament to them, of course. And well, I suppose a little bit out of the ordinary. Oisin Orr's been here sort of almost since he arrived. I guess that's nice that his jockey's able to ride all the work on him too. Yeah, Oisin is very keen to come and ride him out. He rode him out in Bahrain both times he went with the horse. He rode him out in Saudi and went with the horse. So he's very engaged with the horse, and you know, if he wants to do it, I'll let him do it. Don't worry.
And that is a Spirit Dancer. Do you give him some sort of chance, maybe a top 4 chance with Romantic Warrior in the race, Matty?
Certainly I do. I really like this horse. His second Bahrain International Trophy win last time out. We saw that closing sectional there. He did well to win in those conditions, I thought. He's going to need a bit of luck again coming from the rear of the field. Depends on how quickly Wingspan wants to go, I think. But I definitely think he'll be strong at the finish.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be finishing off well. And it was a good win last start, so... Yeah,
I'm talking you into it, aren't I?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we'll see. I haven't got him in at this stage, but he did run home really nicely.
On we go, Paul, to Romantic Warrior. He's drawn barrier number 1, which he did in this race. What about with international horses here drawn barrier number 1, knowing that they can now ride to try and pocket him, or will he just simply be too good for them?
Well, look, it depends again what Wingspan does, and if she sets up a reasonable pace, there'll be gaps on the turn. He'll be trying to get out, but James McDonald, I'm sure, is going to be wise to all that.
Look at him here. Yeah, it's so hard to oppose him. This horse, I still don't think really he's got the credit he deserves from media all over the world. I mean, you know, gone and won that Cox Plate, gone to Japan and won the Zudikinen. It's been majestic in Hong Kong for the last couple of seasons. Has set his own record. He's now won 3 QE2 Cups. Is he going to win this race again? I think so.
That is a Romantic Warrior. So we're playing at minors. We've got Liberty Island 13th. She's a whole lot better than what we saw from her in this race, Maddie, the 10-0 show. First up for 7 months. Tastira ends up running second. This was a better performance and the best performance by this horse since leaving Age Racing.
Yeah, I like Tastira. I would give him a preferable chance to Liberty Island. Obviously, Liberty Island, the Triple Tiara winner, is better than this run. I haven't necessarily been that impressed by her in the morning. She had 1 gallop out on the turf, and I just thought I've seen her look smoother in the past. Whereas Tastira, I've really liked what I've seen from him, and I don't think he'll be too far away in terms of pace. That could be a good place to be.
Yeah, I've got them both, and I think they're both really good chances in this race. And it's good to see Tastira come back, and Damien Lane knows Sha Tin very well.
He certainly does. We're heading to better Liberty Island form now, Paul. This is in the Shima Classic. It's going back to March. She ends up running 3rd in this race.
Yeah, she got well back and she hit the line really strongly. So, look, it was a nice run for her. She's definitely one of the chances for me in the race. And I just like the turn of foot here as she came down the outside. So, look, it was a good run. Well, there's nothing more we can say. She's got here. She's done most of her work before. But she was here as most of the international horses have done, and she's gone for it nicely enough.
We'll move on, Maddie, to a couple of horses that you can tell us plenty about. It's the O'Brien pair of Wingspan who runs second in this, Content 11th. This is the British Champions Fillies and Mare Stakes.
It is, and Wingspan's done a lot of improving in a short space of time. The winner of this race, Kalpana, is very high class indeed, and she could be bartering for top honours in the best races next year. But this was a really solid effort from Wingspan. As Paul said, she likes to be on the front end and she's very game and she's improving with every start. Content in behind, she won the Yorkshire Oaks in the summer. She is a head scratcher. She can be a tricky ride. She can be very, very keen in her races, and I think that's not going to make life easy for her rider. I would much prefer Wingspan, given that she could have a nice time on the lead with Romantic Warrior just behind her.
Yeah, I'm going to include Wingspan because I think she can dictate the pace. So, yeah, I think she's a good chance.
But we're all playing for minors only.
Well, I've got Romantic Warrior on top. He only won by a head last year when he beat Luxembourg, but he's got the 2 Japanese, Liberty Island and Tastira, to fight off, and also Wingspan will try and steal it from the front. It's going to be a really good race, this one. I don't think it's as cut as dry as maybe that we think in the sprint, but Romantic Warrior, as Maddie said, he doesn't really get the deserve he needs from the overseas press, and maybe he will after Sunday. 1, 9, 4 and 11.
Yeah, we've come to really rely on Romantic Warrior, and that's a dangerous thing to do with racehorses as they are still unpredictable. But his record is just phenomenal. He's incredibly consistent, and I love his partnership with James McDonald, and I hope to see them succeed together again on Sunday. For the minors, I'm going Tastira. I prefer him to Liberty Island. I think he could get good position under Damien Lane. Wingspan, similar, and I've got to chuck in Spirit Dancer there, hoping he can come with a strong late run from the back. I think these sort of international races and the way they set up can really play to his strengths.
That is the preview for the 4 Group 1s. Many thanks for dropping in and being part of the preview for the 4 Group 1s. Which horse are you looking forward to seeing the most on Sunday?
It's got to be Romantic Warrior, hasn't it? As we've touched upon, he's just an absolute superstar. He's one of those horses, much like Golden 60, who is much missed, of course, this year, who really means a lot to both the locals and international press. You know, you can set your clock by him. He's incredibly reliable. And he's got a very loyal fan club, and I'm a staunch member.
Will you enjoy the day out there?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome, and we'll see you for race 9, Paul.
We will.
Race number 9 now, second last, as we've completed the Group 1 racing. The 9th is a Class 3 over the 1400 metres. Bright Day has blinkers on for the first time. Johannes Brahms has a better draw. Temra Blitz is first up, and he has placed first up in the past. Charming Legend, one of his Hong Kong debut, carries an extra £7 for it. Galaxy Witness, he is resuming too. Visor off him. Leslie is coming off a last start 5th. Super Love Dragon, a last start winner, comes up in grade. Same said for number 13, Mark Wynn. The winner on the speed map, Paul, is Bright Day.
Yeah, he's only had the limited starts here, just the one in fact in Hong Kong, but he did go forward there, and I think he can go forward once again up and trip to the 1400. Johannes Brahms went forward on his debut as well in Hong Kong. Lucy in the Sky is always handy, and thought lucky combination will try and come across. And Charming Legend's got an awkward draw, barrier number 10 this time. He'll look for some cover somewhere. Mark Wynn will go back from a wide draw.
Beauty Crescent is where we start. He's one of a number of horses in this replay. He's done everything since he's been here other than win a race. Johannes Brahms is going to come out of this race a fitter horse also.
Yeah, so he's the one that goes in, Johannes Brahms. It was a nice debut run from him. He wasn't too far away at all. He's drawn nicely in barrier number 4, so expect him right there. Beauty Crescent, what do you do with Beauty Crescent? I mean, a 22 start maiden, but he's had 6 seconds and 4 thirds, so he just can't seem to get his nose in front.
He's placed 8 from 12 course and distance, and that's the roughy Silvery Breeze getting right up the inside to beat them all. Charming Legend can't have done any more than what he did at his Hong Kong debut. He's fourth turning for home here. Pounces on them, scores by a length over Glorious Success. Lucy in the Sky, just a touch disappointing in this race.
A little bit. I just wonder if what was the weight. He's got to carry the weight, but he's got to do that again. Lucy in the Sky from barrier number 8. So that's just the query with him. But it was a strong win, I thought, here from Charming Legend. This is his debut run. Again, he's drawn 10, so he'll need a bit of luck from that wide draw. But I just like the way he finished off, so he'll definitely go in for me. I'm going to put Lucy Sky in just as a minor line, because we know he's a very good horse on this day.
Yeah, he sure is, Lucy in the Sky. Super Love Dragon's been in your selections a number of times. This race replays 1400 metres, so the same distance as what he races over in the 9th. However, he's on the class drop. What about coming back up in grade?
Yeah, look, he hasn't performed in it yet, but he has always caught the eye, finishing off strongly. It was a really good ride here from Zach Purton, and he just managed to get up right on the post. He was on the cusp for me, but this is a lot harder race. He has got that good turn of foot, though. We've seen that in this class before, and it was enough to get him home here in this lower class race. It's just whether it is enough once again in this race. I'm not so sure. So, look, I left him out in the end, but he could have easily gone in.
And the other one coming up in class with winning form is Mark Wynn. He's only fairly lightly raced, unlike Super Love Dragon. He's yet to run in Class 3. They punted him off the map late here. He was into even money. The start prior where he was beaten, he started as a 2.2 favourites.
Yeah, exactly. He's drawn 12, but he gets back. He can get back from that wide draw. And look, he's a nice horse. I prefer him over Super Love Dragon in this grade, and I thought he won this race with a lot of authority. And coming up in the grade with a light weight, he's got 119. I think he's a big chance in this race.
All right, so he's going in. Whereabouts is he going in?
I'm going to put him on top. We'll see if he can overcome that wide draw and win. So Mark Wynn, he goes on top to beat the Charming Legend, Johannes Brahms and Lucy in the Sky. 13-6-3-1.
Paul with Mark Wynn to make it 1 for 1 up in Class 3. And the last on H. Kerr race day is race number 10, and it's a 1400 metre Class 2. The Golden Scenery, a 4-time course and distance winner. Sunpack Fu, just his second look at 1400 metres. Drombeg Benner, a wider draw. Chu Chow Spirit raced wide last time. Flaming Rabbit, class drop. Blinkers and Shadow Roll both go back on. Young Champion has the earplugs on. Ruby Lot wears cheek pieces once again. And All Cash comes here, having had just the one trial to prepare for his Hong Kong debut, the Grey. The speed, Paul, it is Flaming Rabbit and Drombeg Benner. There is some noted pacemakers in this.
Yeah, those two are just going to go for it, I think. So it should be set up a nice pace. Telecom Fighters is back to 1400 metres. Otherwise, he'd be right on that top front line as well. Packing Hermod, I think the likely favourite's going to get a lovely run with Packing Treadmill. Plenty of Packings here. Sing Dragon coming off a win of the all-weather. All Cash just had the one trial leading to this, and Ruby Lot's drawn wide. I think he's going to just let the race unfold.
Here is Packing Hermod last time, and he is second in this race. Beg Benner stays on for third. Ribulot seventh. What about horses at the back like the Golden Scenery and Young Champion, their chances this week?
Yeah, I think the Golden Scenery from Barrier 1, he's an honest horse. He could run into a minor placing, the Golden Scenery. But I do like the second horse here, Packing Hermod. Look, it was a really good win from Green and White, and Green and White has been in really, really good form. So I think it's quite a strong form race. This was a really strong race, this one. And Packing Hermod, it's the first time he'd been beaten. But he was beat, he wasn't disgraced.
He was not. He went down swinging, did Packing Hermod. Sing Dragon, this is just last week on the all-weather. His all-weather form in Hong Kong is much better than his Hong Kong turf form. Can he bring any sort of danger to the runners in the turf this week?
Well, he is running some quite good races on the turf, but again, he goes up in the ratings for winning this. So he's meeting them on worse terms. Look, I'd prefer him on the all-weather, which is an obvious thing. He's drawn nicely in Barrier 2, but no, he didn't go.
Right, there's a member of the Mark Newnham stable. As full credit, the stablemate comes roaring into second, so we'll see where he goes after this race on Sunday, Sing Dragon. And All Cash had plenty of starts before he got here, and then Danny Shum's given him just the one trial. He stays on okay behind Like Year's Charm, ridden up a bit at the turn, but ends up running second.
Yeah, look, it's hard to win in Hong Kong off one trial. We've seen so many good horses that have done that and haven't won on debut because they've only had the one trial. This is a really strong race. I'd be surprised if he won off a trial.
Wins over 1,000, twice over 1,400 on dirt, 1,500, 1,600, 1,800 and 2,000. So he's versatile, but he's in against some very, very race-fit horses for his debut on Sunday. Good field for the last. Yeah,
really good field to finish off. I think Packing Hermod is a horse with rating points in hand, though, and he can win the 10. To beat Young Champion, back to 1,400 metres is ideal for him. Ruby Lot will be storming home from the back in the Golden Scenery. Very honest horse and drawn nicely in Barrier 1. 10, 9, 12 and 1.
Now, as there was no traditional racing to win this week with the HKIR special, which you'll find on the website also with Nick Luck, Catherine Ford and Graham Cunningham, we'll grab your best bet on the preview show.
Yeah, look, I like Janta Manta. He's a young, rising Japanese star. 6 starts for 4 wins, a second and a third. He's a bit of a dude around the track, and he's got here nicely. So I think he can win the mile for Japan, can Janta Manta. So we'll make him the best, and we'll go with one of the overseas horses as well for the value play. I think the Vase is one of the hardest races, and Iracine, look at that, 24 starts with 15 wins. The play of the day, race 10, we'll do it in the last, we just talked about him, Young Champion, Packing Hermod and Ruby Lot, 9, 10, 12, QQP.
Starmac is overdue. He's had 14 starts, he's placed 5 times. He'll run on, that's for sure. Just needs a little bit of luck to go his way and run past 1 or 2 more and he'll get the win. So race 6, number 4, Starmac is the best bet. The value in the first, number 12, Monarch County's race wide at his only 2 starts. Draws Barrier 2. Blake Shin's back in town on Sunday to ride at Sha Tin. He'll partner with Casper Pounds, who he's had so much success with. And the playing the mile, as easy as 1, 2, 3 in a QP. That has been the race by race preview. Horse you're looking forward to seeing the most?
King Rising, I think.
And he'll run in the sprint. Enjoy your day at Sha Tin on Sunday. The world will be here for the Turf World Championships, and the first gets underway at the early start time of 12:25.